Welcome back to the third devlog for That Which Sleeps, the upcoming epic turn-based strategy game that puts you in the role of an ancient evil awakened to retake the world. You must manipulate the world from the shadows in order to ensure your successful and victorious return. We're going to talk about combat today, but I'd like to make a note of two things before we go ahead. One, you're going to see a lot of placeholder art, so be gentle. Number two is that combat is not an essential mechanic of the game. It's not like your standard 4X where you do a lot of fighting. This is a game about deceit and manipulation. So think of combat more as a crisis point that occurs. You don't have to fight it. It gives you the opportunity to do something, to either try and stop the hero from interfering with your schemes, or to abandon, take what you've done, and go do something somewhere else. Alright, so looking up at the top left, you can see the agents we have recruited. 3 of them have these double axes surrounded by red. Anything in a red R near the agent shows that it's something that has to be handled before the end of the turn, otherwise it won't let you pass. We're going to go ahead and see what I've been doing in the world. So this is about midway through a game with Karth. I have gotten into the Aventuran Free State with some of my orc hordes. I lost a battle outside the gates of Aventura, and now I have the Prophet over in Baron's Point, a place we burnt to the ground, trying to summon a Spirit of War, which can only be done in a burning spot. So I've been interrupted by these adventurers. Well, let's see what happens now. There's flavor text at the bottom. That can be turned off, though it does have a mechanical element to it. So if you have a duelist as your agent, and they have a duelist on their end, they might say, let's duel. You can say yes or no to that. If you do, all the mates disappear, and it's a one-on-one fight. Alright, so there is flavor text at the top and a counter in the ruins. There are 2 global modifiers. One in black is permanent, -2 range damage. In gold, we have Angry Mob. In one turn, a mob will appear. They're not going to side with you, because you are the butcher at Baron's Point who destroyed their hometown. In a city, though, in a city POI, guards would show up. Guards might side with you if you've either infiltrated them, if you're welcome at court, or if they just don't like the look of the adventurers. Looking at the agent, these are his combat stats. If you could look at his portrait, you would see all of his stats for the overland map. But we only show what's important for combat here to keep things, the amount of information reasonable. For life, these are his traits. Cloak of Fear, 1 fear damage to will. He has 2 action points, most agents have only 2. This is his attack value, basic, and his defense value, base. So, ancient attack, he does 1 unblockable ancient attack damage. That's very rare, most people don't have that. It's only 1, but it's unblockable, so it can be very tactically important. Physical defense, it shows you where it comes from, the Prophet, or where it comes from rather. The Prophet, it means base, so when you have this agent, these are his base stats. Physical defense blocks physical attacks and half an elemental attack. We have arcane defense, which blocks arcane attacks and elemental attacks, but not physical attacks, and that is important. He gets these from the trait Dark Soul, which makes him stronger as his old one awakens. Now, more interesting, at the bottom we have his abilities. The one with the abilities that have no icon on the lower left are your basic abilities. These are the abilities of the Prophet himself. You get more of these by imbuing the agent with power, and he gets more interesting and more powerful abilities. You can also buff these as well. We'll see that in a second. So let's look at Enervating Reach. It's a reach attack, which means no counter attack. It's immediate and takes 1 of your actions. You can do 2 of these in a turn. Target hero takes basic attack damage. In this case, that would be 1 unblockable ancient damage. You can see there's everything has a quote. We add a little flavor to the game. At the bottom, you may see up to 5 of these. These allow you to channel more of your ancient power to strengthen the Prophet. The more you imbue your agent, the more of these enhancement opportunities you'll see. So it's a combination of a long-term planning, because it takes time to imbue, and also a short-term ability to strengthen your agent. So by clicking on this, you'll see it has the ability, if the hero has 2 or less will, they are stunned. Stunned is amazing, because it removes all their shields, they do not counterattack, and they don't attack on their turn. But we're not going to do that for now. Anything with a scroll is a spell, so you can have a certain number of spells based on your Arcana ability. This is an area spell, takes both your actions, but all heroes lose 2 physical defense at the end of the round. Goron Spade is an artifact I have. Most artifacts have a consumable combat ability. We did that to again reinforce the idea of long-term strategy or short-term gain. Goron Spade, if sacrificed, gives the Ancient Domains 2 physical defense the remainder of the battle. That's pretty huge. But Goron Spade does give me +5 labor on the Overworld map, and I'd rather keep that. Let's look at our minions before going over to look at the heroes. We have Orc Raiders. These are a mid-tier unit. Generally, they take a good amount of time to get, but with Karth, they're easy to get, and I get 2 of them when I recruit them, so you'll see a lot of these, well, you'll see a lot of these on my map. They have 4 attack, 2 defense, and they have on the left basic attack. Most of your minions will have basic attack as their left ability, and then on the right something more interesting. Or greatest, however, are generic minions, they just simply attack. Bendati Seer, so anything in bold is a trait that you get. This is the other part that's very important about minions. While the orcs are mostly attackers, though they aid you in burning down villages, the Bendati Seer gives you a trait, Thaumaturgy. Thaumaturgy opens up more options on the challenge menu, as well as allows you greater flexibility in modifying events. They also give you +2 Arcana, which is pretty useful. Now, they are a cornerstone of a certain strategy with aberrations. They have an ability on the right, instead of basic attacking, they can do otherworldly hollow. Aberrations, any aberration you have as a minion here, will gain physical damage equal to their horror damage. So in addition to striking at someone's will, they'll also strike at their health. Moving over to the heroes, Aladrain, First Blade of the Republic. I'm sure you just got that from defending the city of Aventura. He is a level 7 Crusader. That's pretty high, but he has to have the chance to learn any Crusader abilities. Heroes learn abilities by going to a fellow of that class, going to a guild that teaches that class, or going to a city that teaches that class. Once there, they can spend time to learn an ability of the class. He apparently hasn't had that time, mostly because I've been attacking Aventura. But he does have the passive. He has Flame Blade, +2 fire damage, and Last Stand. Last Stand, you see how it says +1 will from despair? Usually when something happens that would sadden the person, so their friend dies, they get -1 will. A Crusader, on the other hand, gets +1 will from it. He also gets +1 attack if he's in battle when that occurs. So you can see his stats at the bottom. Again, you can see where it comes from. Human base, Crusader, training on level up, First Blade, so he gets this from actually having a title. So titles are important in the game. Fire attack from his trait, his physical defense, and item. Heroes can hold up to 3 items. Healing Potion will heal 2 health. It's pretty generic, but useful. At the bottom you'll see abilities. He has basic warrior abilities. Like I said, he hasn't had time to train. Basic attack is what you'll see everyone start with. It's just they do their damage versus the shields. And Riposte, counterattacks an extra 2 damage, which means that when I attack him with a minion, he does 9 damage as a response. That will kill pretty much anything you have. So, looking at the representation here, you can see, if I mouse over, it will open other people. So, Nivera of Baden, she is a level 5 sorcerer. She has defensive casting, cannot be countered, which is pretty powerful. Very weak, you'll see. But she also has spells, so anyone that can be a spellcaster also has 2 spell slots. Cone of Cold is what she's casting, you can see that to the right of her, it's her ready ability. It does 5 cold damage to 1 minion in the agent, it's devastating, but it costs her 1 will, you can see that by the blue icon next to Cone of Cold. Now, like I said, the icon next to them shows what they're going to use against you during their attack. So if it makes it to them, they're going to do this. She will do a lot of damage, this guy will attack for 7, he'll attack for 5. Now notice the shield on front of her, on her icon. It means she's defending. When someone is defended, they can't be attacked directly. Not by ranged, not by melee, and not by reach attacks. Only by magic. The only way to remove this is to distract the person defending her. Now distracting is a core mechanic. If I do enough damage to someone with a melee attack to actually make them lose health, so I get past their shields, they become distracted. They will not make their attack on the next turn, and they stop guarding anyone that they've been guarding. We did this because it simulates the idea of an ancient evil or an evil overlord sending out his minions to distract people while he's off doing his own thing. So the other important mechanic is that when you do damage to someone, their shields are reduced by 1 until the end of the turn. Now let's go through and actually do the attack. I can't win this battle, but I can survive until I can flee. So I'm going to use Greater Yielding. I reduce their shields. Now that he's down to 3, my 4 attack guys can actually distract him. So it'll do 1 damage. He is then slaughtered, though. I will attack her with my weaker guy because I need the stronger one to attack the other warrior. That puts her down. You see he gets -1 from Despair. He actually, Aladrain actually gets stronger because of that, because of his Last Stand ability. This orc I am now going to use to distract Drixel so he doesn't attack me. That's important because at the end of the round, they attack, and my minions do not block. They will attack me. So if I haven't distracted someone, they're going to do damage to my agent. Alright, I end the round. They get the defense back, a mob arrives, and I know I'm screwed. So the only thing here, I could attack them and probably kill Drixel if I wanted to. Or I can flee. If I attack Drixel, at least one of them is going to attack me, and probably it's going to be Aladrain and do a ton of damage to me, so I'm just going to flee. When you flee, you lose your minions. If I'd waited 1 more turn, I could have retreated, in which case I saved my minions, but in this case they would have died anyway. Here we have the resolution screen. You can see that Aladrin has gotten 3 fame and 1 max will. Good for him. I got 2 fame, and it also shows the stats of the other 2 combatants. So she died, and he got a wound. And now I can make a few I get to choose from a few options here. These depend on the challenge I was doing, what my old one is, who my agent is, a few other statistics as well. So I can do any of these except for disperse the ritual's energy. The reason I can't do that is because I lost my thaumaturgist. I was doing a thaumaturgy ritual, creating that possible event, but since I no longer have thaumaturgy because my seer died, I can't do it. I could do Discipline of Steel, -1 max health, +1 to my attack. However, it would cost me 1 of my ancient power. I don't want to do that. Spread the word lowers your fame. You often want to do this because the higher your fame, the easier it is for people to find you, and the more powerful heroes will come to hunt you down. So just a choice well made. Good job, Fleeing. Alright, so before we go down to the next fight, I just want to point out that we've cursed the passageway between the Golden Republic of Toln at Tolnspire and Aventura, just trying to cut off any possible reinforcements. And they haven't declared war, they haven't allied yet, so it's really been neutral. But it also distracts them because they'll send some of their heroes over to try and get rid of the curse. So moving over, we see the Kingdom of Silaria. I have caused a drought here through a ritual, and I've also been burning their farmland. The villages aren't burning, you see no smoke. It's a lower profile action to burn farmland, but it's very practical because, as you can see from this red circle here, West Lundis, the capital, is suffering from, it doesn't have enough food to feed its people, so it's gone down to 7 order from 12, making it much easier to infiltrate. So if I wanted to, and if I was actually trying to win this game, I would definitely have someone there infiltrating and trying to get to the upper echelons of their government. But I had my peddler over here spreading miasmas. So a miasma is a very high-profile action that just kind of slowly sucks people. It just kills people over time. I had a few, but they've been shut down by heroes. But it's raised my profile to the point where I've been attacked by a champion, and that's what I wanted to show you. So we have here Yamahak, champion of the Fist of Eris, the most warlike tribe of the tribal region. Peddler, there's been some kind of misunderstanding. He does not want to fight. That terrifying sound you heard was an on start ability. So on battle start, it's in the lower left, war cry. All minions with 2 or less strength are feared, and they just leave. So the peddler is now completely devoid of any support. Now this guy is a champion. Champions are extremely strong. You can look at he is a level 9 berserker. So they start at a certain level at the beginning of the game, but even more important, they follow the AI of their leader of their nation as opposed to their own AI. Most heroes just follow their wants and desires. They may go off adventuring for the fun of it, go get some gold, not necessarily to stop you. These guys will follow their leader's instructions, so they're much more effective at stopping you. He has brutal combatant, wounds are twice as severe, and at the bottom you see Shattering Blow. Target does not regain physical defense for 1 turn, which is important. You saw how defense regenerates, and War Cry, which you also saw. So it's in gold, which indicates that it's a passive ability, and this one triggers at the start of battle. We also have Ancient Woods. There's no channeling here, so even if I could buff an ability like you saw me do, I couldn't do it here. And then because this is a champion, his rangers are coming. So in 1 turn, 2 rangers are going to arrive. I'm not going to live that long anyway, so this is when you just you can't flee, because you can't flee until the 2nd turn. You just click on end round and hope. And he just slaughters me. So he has his dead icon on him now, and Yamahak gains 2 fame. He would have gained more, but the peddler is not a very intimidating figure. You can praise his name. These Spoils of War is specific to the agent, so essentially the peddler can give cursed blades and cursed items to people. This simulates that Yamahak picks up his cursed blade and now is himself cursed. It gives you infiltration with him and slowly erodes his will. A body yet remains. I can't do it because I can't afford it. It would cost me 3 gold. But that makes from his body a war standard. So for some reason the peddler's dead body inspires the orcs to greater conquest. I can do that because I built a war college in the north. Ashes and Dust, no effect. Now we'll move over to the southeast, which is the last area where I have a fight, a Bruin. So you'll see the Arden Protectorate has House Greywind in the middle of it. And that's because we raised Baron Greywind, who turns his ruin, and you can see that glowing in white, he turns that ruined area into his home territory and can then go out conquering the local areas. His scheme is devastating. Every agent has their own scheme. His scheme will turn any area in revolt in the Arden Protectorate to his territory. A lot of late game strategies revolve around that scheme if you're using the Baron. Okay, so you can see I've been fighting around here, and I've lost my entire army. I actually had to fight 2 turns ago versus some other heroes. I killed them, but lost pretty much everything. And now I'm being attacked by these guys here. Let's see what happens. Blood for Gold and the Lost Crossroads. So that's where, again, the flavor actually means something. So Blood for Gold is telling you that these are not heroes out to kill evil. They're after the bounty on my head. So as I was conquering areas, the King of Arden put a large bounty out. So people looking for gold or glory will come hunting me down. So Baron Greywind, you saw at the beginning he got a buff. That was his right of birth. Whenever he's in his territory, he defends it and gets +2 physical attack. Also of note, that's a picture of an orc. That's the portrait for Hordemaster Draal. That is not the portrait for Baron Greywind. We don't have one yet. He's also undead, so that gives you some pros and cons. Some of them strong, and used properly, they're incredible, but they can't heal, although the Baron gets around that by, if you rebuild his castle, he can heal in his castle. So he's down to 1 life. He's not looking so good, though he's very, very strong. And we have some guys over here attacking him. A Tangle appeared, so I know there's a bounty hunter in play. Gives you +1 to your agent escape timer. So normally you flee in the 2nd turn. Now I can't flee till the 3rd turn. Same thing with retreating. I can't retreat till the 4th turn. However, I have an ace here in that you can see this guy, Travas, with no will, has been corrupted. That's the icon means. That little eye is always good for you. So I have a corrupted agent here. A corrupted hero, rather. Boldergarn himself is pretty tough. Dwarves are very annoying. He has 8 defense. So, generally, dwarves are rare, as are elves. If you see a dwarf, he's going to have massive defense, and he's going to guard a wizard that's going to destroy you. Fortunately, the Baron is incredibly tough on his own, so I can probably beat this. So this guy's being guarded, Boldergarn Unscaled Company. He's going to cast Pyroclasm, cost him 2 will do 6 fire damage to me. Obviously kill me because I have 1 life, and I don't resist any elemental. We also have, whoever this is, Moltaire, very generic. What are you? You are also a bounty. So you're a bounty hunter, and you're a bounty hunter. This is a battle caster. So these actually, see how they're gray? These are the morally ambiguous classes. When you demoralize people, they may go back and become a sellsword, a thief, a bounty hunter, and generally they stop being heroes. They just go about looking for gold. But enough of that. Oh, he's got an artifact as well. He has a Grand Mars Bulwark, immune to wounds, -1 physical damage versus melee. Okay. So, what am I going to do? I am going to... So you see, you can look at my abilities. We have Overwhelming Force. Very strong. Target hero takes basic attack, and any hero his guarding takes 4 physical damage. And it can be buffed. We have Dark Lore. Oh, I'm not going to read that yet, because I'm going to use that next turn. Travas Backstab. So this appears because I have a corrupted hero. I can activate him, and I can choose a target to lose health. Not do damage, lose health. So I'm going to do this, and it doesn't take any actions. And I can target anyone, even if they're guarded. So it did 3 damage to him. Travas flees. So he's down to 2 life. And they also all lost morale because they got betrayed. So that's generally demoralizing. Now I'm going to use my power to buff this. The target takes basic to +4. So it actually does, I think, 13 damage. And here he is guarding takes 6 physical damage. So if I attack Boldergarn, it does enough to kill the person behind him. Yep, and now he's actually terrified. So you can see the red flash on him. So he's panicked. He's not going to do anything if I end the turn. So I can end it. And on round 2, I can use Dark Lord's target with will -1. 1 or less is possessed. So if I use that, he actually fades away, and I gain a minion out of him. I also gained Mars Bulwark. You can see I'm losing 2 when I end the turn of my Dark Power, because I used an ability. Grand Mars Bulwark. So I gained the artifact from the guys I killed. The activated hero will now be available to be recruited from my agent screen. I lost all passive benefit of having him. And I gained a powerful minion by using Dark Laurel, which is an ability that the Baron gets if he's... I think it's his maximum ability from being imbued. So you can see victory, the Baron gained a ton of fame and also danger. So these are, again, bad. This is a ton of fame. Everyone from around the world is going to come hunt him down, and the danger is telling them that you need to be very strong. So they're going to go muster up extra help, find other adventurers, get artifacts, and come get them. Alright, so that's the end of our devlog. Stay tuned for our Kickstarter, coming Monday, September 22nd. And our next devlog, which will be about challenges and events, which is really going to bring the whole game together for you. All right.